so it slowed down to just what it's going to be. I'm sure that part of what happened while we were out walking was that a fresh pounding got done up here. So what they did is they actually have been up in this area of the roof, independent contractors, in town and out of town. I saw the in town do it, and then the out of town cousins kept showing up from like West Virginia or wherever Northam is. So they actually banged that roof down so that it's concave and it will hold. And then out here, I've seen them pry it. And over there, on the far side of that blind spot, on this wall, they actually chopped a hole with an axe one time. That was one of the first things that they did. You could see it was an axe hole because of the way that well, you saw it, Deb. So anyway, when this leak happened, like this miracle, like that miracle that actually happened, right? Yeah, anyway. So, this one. You could tell that it was like a planned thing that didn't work out because the timing and because he got frustrated and called me to ask me, kind of. So, and frankly, when they do the hose from the back, they can put as much water in these. So it might rain just a little tiny bit, but I'll have a huge puddle. And you can tell because of the way that the leaks happen and the timings that they happen and that they don't always happen on a regular basis and all this stuff. But I know that they've been working on, while they work on all the windows. It's grim. So the one night I was asleep back there when I was still sleeping in the back bedroom, and somebody obviously was walking. I think it was, meth head who's been in jail since then. But they pushed, and I turned this in, they pushed the trailer so hard that it shook me and it woke me up and I thought there was an earthquake happening. And my water tank, my water heater back there started sloshing. And then they came around to the other side of the trailer and they pushed from that side. You could feel the way that the energy came or the pressure or whatever. And I was like, oh, it's a dickhead. It's not an earthquake. So when that leak happened, it was just amazing. I was just sitting here and all of a sudden, and the tinfoil and stuff wasn't up there because it had never done anything like this before. All of a sudden there was just like this one, just this flash flood down. I mean, all of a sudden, like just this, and I was just like, oh my God. And I just looked at it and I just thought, I've done the domestic violence studying. I've studied domestic violence as a phenomenon and as, so this is actually, you can totally watch it. If you put it on a pattern, on one of their pattern boards, it's totally something that's trackable. Poor mindful. So the domestic terrorists, the local, and that's what the problem is with my life, is that I grew up in a place where domestic terrorism is actually called socialization. That's what's wrong with this place. It's full of domestic terrorists. And how funny that it was on 332 to 334 to 335 when I said that. That's hilarious. Because, of course, that's our area code or our prefix. And I'm talking about domestic terrorism. So when that happened, it was really easy to see the pattern of, so that little punk that came here, that old little punk that's trying to terrorize me into being his girlfriend, fixed it. He created what he did is he psychologically created a breather space. He softened it. I watch you guys do it, dumb shits. Oh, look, here we are at 420. So you create a soft space and you soften your person up or your target or whatever, and they get relaxed, and then you bring in some kind of hard case. And if you're doing it to become the object of their dependence, of course, then what would you do? You would fix a long-standing minor problem and then not be available when they desperately needed you, when it became a major, insane issue. Ah ha ha. which the timing coincidence, and that's how I actually found out about the cameras too, because he is drunk all the time and he gave himself up and he liked me too much. So one time I wrote something and he made it totally friggin' obvious that he remote viewed it somehow, and I was like, oh, and now we all know about Wi-Fi devices and tiny little cameras and stuff, so I was just like, yeah, lovely. So so when that happened up there on that one, then I was supposed to call him because he was down in Lewiston at that Tony Love's place, and I didn't call him, and I was just like, no, I'm just not into playing that little game. And so I didn't play the game, and then the whole weekend went by. And he had to call me. So Sunday morning he calls me, he's like, is anything happened? I'm like, you're so subtle, you twat. Yeah, it was pretty funny. I was like, oh, well, there was kind of a flood, but yeah, other than that, nothing else. He's like, well, a flood? It's like, yeah, dude, whatever. And the way I met him was funny, too. I'm pretty sure that Krosky brought him up to Spokane the day that I ended up picking him up on the way down from Spokane. Why do I think that? Oh, because of a couple of very specifically timed incidences. There goes one of the sheriffs up Main Street. All right, then.